we need to restore balance between the left and right side of your body in order, essentially, right? A human being is bipedal in order for them to be well balanced and have good range of motion without pain. Well, there's also a relationship between the front and the back. And here, this is, again, really interesting, years and years and hours, endless hours of observation and thousands of clients. What we need to do is treat the posterior chain, the back of the body, to restore function. There's almost nothing we do to the front. Like, it even though I know that that's the way we work and it works really well for people, it sounds really weird. So let me explain a little bit better. Disclaimer, this is my theory on why when we treat the posterior, people get better faster. When we treat the anterior, not only do they not get better, sometimes they can have crisis and escalation. Okay? We don't test that anymore once we figured it out. Here's my theory on that. We come into the world like a fetus, fully flexed, literally at all of our joints. We are flexion beings. And we come into the world that way, first of all, to fit, right? But also, let's remember the phase of our development where we are completely flexed, we're non-weight bearing. We're in amniotic fluid. We're not really dealing with gravity the same way. Now, there's a very important thing called head lag, which means a very specific time frame in which a baby needs to start to lift their head if they're on their stomach. To the point where if a pediatrician observes that there is too big a head lag, that means the baby's not able to lift their head properly within that time frame, it's associated with structural deficits and pathologies, but even with cognitive. So this is a big deal. That is the first time the posterior chain starts to work, okay? And after that, right, a baby starts to push themselves up and starts to crawl. So that whole posterior chain also has to work and be involved to balance that out, because they can push, but they would fall if it's not holding, okay? And then they sit, and you see them even, they do that little drunk thing when they're sitting because their body is used to flexing, and this stuff back here is figuring out how to work. If you've ever seen a baby try to stand the first time, same thing, right? It's that. So the image that I have is that this is our default, right? And if we're a marionette, the strings of the marionette are in the back to create sitting and standing and crawling and moving and walking. So function is posterior. It determines that. Remember, this is my theory.